What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Jose Show. Happy Wednesday. I hope that everyone is enjoying their day. Now, let's get into the hot topics. Now, I'll start off today's show talking about Pope Leo because Pope Leo went a whole different level. Well, Pope Leo looks ready to take on the Hells Angels, hopping on an all-white motorcycle outside the Vatican before signing it for charity. So, the freshly appointed head of the Catholic Church hopped on the Hog Wednesday after meeting with the Jesus Bikers, an organization of religious writers who traveled all the way from Germany to Rome to meet the Pope. So, apparently there is a clip that shows that Pope Leo puts pen to metal and signs his new name before saddling up and sitting in the rider's seat. Alright, so Leo doesn't actually ride the white BMW R18, but we can imagine his security detail would pitch a fit if he revved the engine, but even his appearance on the bike gets a loud ovation from the assembled crowd. Alright, so the Jesus Bikers reportedly plan to sell the bike and donate the cash to Missio Austria, Children's Aid Project in Madagascar. So Leo's not the first Pope to raise money with a pair of wheels. A Harley Davidson owned by Pope Francis motorcycle sold in 2014 for $284,000, and the money went to a charity for the homeless in Rome. Alright, so this is insane that Leo got to be sitting on this damn motorcycle because that man looked like a damn rebel having to sit on that damn motorcycle. And trust me, I at first thought that this guy was gonna ride on that damn motorcycle the moment that I saw him sitting on it, and I was already getting nervous for the poor man because not anybody should be riding a damn motorcycle. I think that only an expert should be riding a damn motorcycle, because riding on a damn motorcycle is no darn joke, because you are putting your life at risk right there, because we are not talking about you getting protected by a car roof and by some doors and then a windshield like you are in a car. We're just talking about you just being in a freaking motorcycle. But I'm glad that this guy did not go on and ride on that damn motorcycle because of those things. So anywho, I am really happy about the fact that this motorcycle is going to get sold in order to get cash, in order for that cash to get donated to the children over in Madagascar, because those children really need that money so bad, because there's a bunch of hunger, a bunch of poorness going on over there with those poor kids, and I'm sure that those kids are even sick right now, and they're having a bunch of diseases right now, and God knows what, and right now is definitely the time to be helping out those poor people, especially the kids out there. And what really makes me happy is that the Pope took his time to be signing on that motorcycle that's going to get sold in order to get the money for charity, because that comes to show that this Pope is really considerate and loving of all of the kids that are really poor over in Madagascar, and that at the end of the day he is like sending out his blessing in a way by signing his own name on the motorcycle, which to me is really important, because I believe that a blessing and an autograph from a Pope really makes a difference at the end of the day. So Pope, I think that God is definitely going to recognize you big time for what you just did right there. I think that you are an amazing Pope. May God be with you in all levels. May God be with you all the time. And you know what? I think that this is so darn amazing that the Pope was like, you know what? I'm going to be sitting on this motorcycle just to show off that I got to be on it, instead of just riding on it and, putting his life at danger. Because, at the end of the day, it really seems like that this Pope had the humor to be going on a motorcycle and act like he was going to be riding on it and, just wave at the crowd and smile. Because, hey, at the end of the day, it is really fun having to see somebody have a little fun here and there, at least by sitting on that damn motorcycle. Okay, and he is like the first Pope ever for me to see that he is sitting on a motorcycle. Okay, because I have never seen a Pope in my life sit on a motorcycle and get all humorous. So anywho, this is so darn funny. Okay, so anywho, this is amazing, and I think that this is definitely going to make a difference at the end of the day with this donation that's going to be made. All right, now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein. So the mystery of the missing minute from outside Jeffrey Epstein's detention cell has been solved, but the answer probably won't stop the conspiracy theorists. As you know, the U.S. Department of Justice dumped an avalanche of new Epstein case documents on the public Tuesday night, including an 11-hour surveillance video recorded outside the notorious pedophile's cell at NYC's Metropolitan Correctional Center in August of 2019. Epstein was awaiting trial on federal charges of sex trafficking minors. In the camera footage, you see the timestamp make a smooth transition from 11:59 to 12 a.m. from August 9 to August 10. Well, and everything appears to be normal during the minute before the midnight switch over that was previously missing from the security video. Okay, so you may recall the DOJ and FBI released almost 11 hours of security footage from MCC in July, with 60 seconds of the video mysteriously missing. Correctional officers found Epstein dead by suicide in his cell on the morning of August 10, mere hours after the feds believed Epstein took his life. Alright, so, but the 1 minute gap only supercharged conspiracy theories that Epstein was murdered because he allegedly had a black book filled with names of rich and powerful pedophiles who had sex with underage girls on Epstein Island in the Caribbean. So far, there's no evidence of a black book. Alright, so anyways, in July, Attorney General Pam Bondi brushed off the conspiracy talk, explaining Bureau of Prisoners cameras automatically cut out 1 minute when they switch over at midnight. However, this doesn't seem to be the case now that the new Epstein footage shows the missing minute is fully intact. Okay, so this is really funny that now there are theories going on here about some missing minute going on. Well, I think that this is really interesting that people are now finding ways to find more things behind this whole entire case here, with this missing minute thing that's going on here. I think that at the end of the day, Jeffrey Epstein was in prison and he hung himself and he died. And at the end of the day, this guy ended up in prison for being a pedophile and for being a total nasty, freaky, awful person. Okay, let's just leave it at that. And at the end of the day, Epstein, since he was already awaiting trial in that prison back in August of 2019, he was already nervous. He was already like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me next? I'm sure that I'm gonna, basically get a huge sentencing once I get to be into that trial, because right now I'm awaiting trial. And once I'm gonna get sentenced to many years in prison and I'm gonna be in this prison for basically the rest of my life, then I don't know what to do. I might as well, just try to escape from all of this. And, at the end of the day, this is not my life. I shouldn't be living this and blah, blah, blah. And then there he goes, hanging himself in the prison. Okay, and we have to be honest here. This guy was a no good, and he was somebody that was trying to get away with what he was doing, but he didn't get away with it because he got caught and he got basically told on. And I'm glad that he got told on. And all of these people that I believe were the minors, I believe were the people that got to speak up for their own selves, because they didn't want to see this guy out and about still hurting other people and still let loose living his life, when in reality he should have already lived his own punishment since a very long time ago, when he did all of these atrocious things to all of these minors. And now a lot of people are over here saying that Trump might have something to do with this guy, because Trump and him were really good friends and they would exchange text messages and they would get together a lot and so forth. And honestly, I'm not even surprised if Trump ends up being just like Jeffrey Epstein, doing stuff to minors and stuff like that, because hey, at the end of the day, this man is already, somebody that's already being seen as this freak, as this person that has already raped a woman in the past and that has already sexually harassed women in the past and a bunch of other bad things. So, I mean, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if he ends up doing it to minors, and that is just my opinion about the president. So, anywho, it's interesting though how all of the Jeffrey Epstein files are still basically in private. They basically haven't been released, but the reason to why the Epstein files haven't been released is because they don't want to get the president in trouble because he's the president of the United States. Everyone is covering up for him. Let's be realistic. It's funny how they're subpoenaing Hillary Clinton, they're subpoenaing Bill Clinton, they're subpoenaing a bunch of other people that I believe were in office, but the only person that they're not subpoenaing is the president of the United States, Donald Trump. Isn't that funny? Interesting. Well, anywho, sooner or later, this is all going to come to light that Trump, of course, had a lot to do with this Epstein dude in so many other ways that, of course, is not going to just horrify us, but also it's going to definitely be like, okay, well, we knew it this whole entire time, and all of this should have been done a long, long time ago. Okay, but anyways, this is really interesting what we just heard right now about the missing minute. Okay, now on to the next topic. Now let's talk about Kelsey Bateman. So unfortunately, Kelsey Bateman, a contestant on Bret Michaels' reality show Rock of Love, has died, TMZ has learned. So a family sources tell TMZ that Kelsey passed away unexpectedly recently, though it's unclear at this time exactly what caused her untimely death, and TMZ reached out to local authorities for more information. So if we all don't know, Rock of Love with Bret Michaels, it was a reality television show that ran from 2007 to 2009 and followed 25 contestants as they all vied to be Michaels' girlfriend. So Kelsey starred in the third and final season of the show titled Rock of Love Bus with Bret Michaels, on which the ladies lived on tour buses and traveled with Michaels. So Kelsey made it all the way to the final 9 women but was eliminated in dramatic fashion in the 7th episode. Okay, so Bateman showed up to the elimination drunk with several other contestants, telling the cameras she laid on a speed bump and broke down in tears because of the pressures of the show before showing up to the Ellen. And Bret said he felt Kelsey's actions showed she simply wasn't making smart decisions for herself before sending her back to Salt Lake City, Utah. Now, she was only 39 years old when she passed away. So this is really sad that Kelsey Bateman got to pass away so sudden, especially at the age of 39. I'm already wondering what could be the cause to her death because she was only 39 years old, and unfortunately, typically when a young person gets to pass away, it's either due to drugs or suicide, and I'm already imagining that it's one of those things, especially because we don't know what happens behind the closed doors. I am hoping, I am praying for all of this family that is mourning her right now because they are definitely heartbroken about her death. And it must be very Confucius at the same time that from being this reality star that I believe had it all and so, now all of a sudden she's gone. And what's even more sad at the end of the day is that, it's basically this thing where she maybe might have gone through so much, maybe in her personal life, that might have caused her to do drugs or that might have caused her to commit suicide. And that's if she ended up dying due to those things or one of those things. Okay, and it's just one of those things where the mental help comes in, and she should have gotten a lot of mental help in order to prevent herself from doing drugs or committing suicide if she ended up passing away due to one of those things. And God forbid that she ended up passing away due to one of those things. So anywho, I am just so darn sad, and I think that, at the coming days, it's going to be shown what exactly was the cause of her death. That's for sure. Because this is not going to stay this way, where we're just going to be definitely just not knowing what happened with her. Okay, we're gonna know. And I think that maybe what could have also been the case here to Kelsey Bateman was maybe she might have ended up in a situation that maybe she got into a car accident and we don't know, maybe, or maybe someone beat her up to death. I don't know. I'm just over here just making guesses, because, I'm just somebody that really wants to really know exactly what happened here. But anyways, may she rest in peace. And that is all I have to say about this. And she'll forever be remembered as this successful reality star, Kelsey Bateman. All right, now on to the next topic. So Cardi B was found victorious yesterday in a civil lawsuit because of the fact that she was found not liable in the whole entire case. Well, Cardi B made sure her time wasn't completely wasted during her civil trial. Her infamous courtroom looks are now her new album cover. So, just yesterday, Cardi unveiled the courtroom edition of her upcoming Am I the Drama album, featuring snapshots of the funny faces she made when she took the stand last week. So, Cardi was 100% unfiltered on the stand, admitting she called the security guard who was suing her for $24 million all sorts of obscenities, but only because she was standing her ground. The jury sided with her story. So, Cardi's been too preoccupied with the trial to promote, but at least she stands victorious outside the courtroom. She warned any more frivolous lawsuits would be met with the fullest extent of her legal budget. Her plaintiff claimed she's also still pursuing any available avenues and options. Okay, so this is really amazing and funny at the same time that Cardi B was found victorious yesterday in the lawsuit, and here's why. Because first and foremost, I am glad that she was found victorious, because at the end of the day, I think that the security guard wanted money from Cardi B, because the security guard knew that Cardi B is so freaking rich. And at the end of the day, I don't think that Cardi B would be going over the line to be doing anything towards the security guard. However, I do think it's funny that she got to win the lawsuit at the same time, because Cardi B went off and promoted her looks at the courtroom in her new album covers, which is so freaking funny, because we, at the end of the day, don't need to see the faces that Cardi B was making in the courtroom. We just want to see the music. We just want to see the professional photos that were taken for the album, and that is damn it, okay? But these funny faces at the end of the day, they are really damn funny, because it was showing how Cardi B was like, you know what, this is so darn ridiculous, this is so darn weird that I am going through this whole entire legal case here with this stupid security guard, OMG. And her faces, by the way, are usually really priceless in anything. It ain't just with the freaking album covers that she just released of her being in the courtroom, okay? And she looked really snazzy. She looked really good in the courtroom at the end of the day with her hair, her outfit. I mean, damn, the woman looked like she was going to attend a movie premiere at Hollywood or something. Jesus. But anywho, I also think that Cardi, man, I think that she definitely is somebody that knows how to defend herself, because at the end of the day, she got her legal team. She is over here saying what she went through, and she's over here saying that she is innocent and that she would never do such a thing to so, and that she's innocent, and that she is, just somebody that is just trying to mind her own damn business. And that's a good thing that she was knowing how to defend herself, because if Cardi B did not know how to defend herself in this whole entire case, trust me, the woman, I'm pretty sure, would have lost the lawsuit, and she would have had to pay $24 million to the security guard, and that would have been so darn unfair, okay? And I don't even think that there was even any proof, by the way, that was being shown that Cardi B did anything such to the security guard, which could have been the key to Cardi B's victorious, okay? So there's also that, because of course, without proof, there is no win, because at the end of the day, that's what the court wants, because at the end of the day, a picture is worth 1,000 or 1,000,000 words. So, hey, but anyways, I'm so glad that, by the way, now that Cardi B is going to be releasing this new album, she is also, taking a whole entire humor out of all of this at the end of the day, because, hey, I mean, it's really cool just having to celebrate something that you were victorious for, and then, be like, okay, well, now I can be living my life. I can be happier than ever. And, I'm not really in trouble after all. And, I can just move on, and that's it. So that's also one other thing that is coming from this lawsuit. So anyways, Cardi B, I am happy for you at the end of the day. And that is all I have to say about this. Now on to the next topic. So let's talk about Graham Greene. So unfortunately, Graham Greene, a longtime character actor who received an Academy Award nomination, has died, TMZ has learned. So Graham's agent Michael Greene, no relation, tells TMZ Graham passed away at a Toronto hospital Monday afternoon with his wife Hilary Blackmore at his side. And Michael tells TMZ that Graham loved all he did for his people and for the world, adding he was a man of great moral character and will be missed. In a message meant for Graham, Michael says, "You are finally free," adding that his former agent Susan Smith will meet him at Heaven's Gate. He did not provide a cause of death. So Graham began acting in the early 1980s, appearing in films like Running Brave and the Al Pacino-led Revolution before breaking out in the movie Dances with Wolves. Okay, so Greene plays Kicking Bird in the film. The Sioux Tribe's medicine man who befriends Kevin Costner's character. The role earned Graham an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor, though he lost to Joe Pesci for Goodfellas. Alright, so Graham also appeared in Green Mile, Snow Dogs, The Twilight Saga, New Moon, Wind River, Molly's Game, and the TV shows American Gods and Riverdale, among many more roles. Alright, so he was only 73 years old, and may he rest in peace. And by the way, he was survived by Blackmore, his daughter Lily Lazar Greene, and his grandson Tarlo Greene. Alright. So anyways, he will appear in several upcoming films, including Ice Fall, starring Joel Kinnaman and Danny Houston. Okay, so may this guy, the one and only Graham Greene, rest in peace. He'll forever be remembered, and he'll forever be in our hearts. And it really sucks that these iconic actors get to pass away, because they were really good people. They were really good actors. They are, the good representation to Hollywood. And these are the people that, really gave us a really good time with their movies and with their shows, and that were never shy enough to give us a really good time with their movies and with their shows. And we'll forever, of course, put them in our TVs and put them in our movie theaters. And we'll forever, keep their legacy alive at least because of those things. And that's what matters the most now. Okay? So anyways, may he rest in peace. And that is all I have to say about this. Now, that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's lovely episode of The Jose Show. Till next time, and peace.